Good evening, YouTube. Sydney Watson has uploaded a video entitled The Demonization of Straight White Men.
Straight white men?
Yeah.
Not a lot.
What's a straight white man good for?
Straight white men?
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Revenge, hatred, and hypocrisy's a bitch.
Accurate. I'm not sorry. Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell. And as per usual, before we launch in, today's video is sponsored by Extra. I am going to be chaotic today. I am feeling the chaos.
I didn't need a pinch of alcohol to do this because it is exhausting hearing white people whine about revenge, hatred. At the same time, it's annoying being told that white people are to blame for everything. I didn't ask for my privilege. You didn't ask for your oppression. It's just enough said on that. This video is like 26 minutes of 27 minutes. So grab your nearest substance abuse and please partake with King Cobra because, oh boy, a lot of the systematic hate for white people that we see in today's society, it comes from the way straight, white, cisgendered men have treated everyone else. Which it's not my fault. I don't have Stewie Griffin's time machine. I don't have the DeLorean from Back to the Future. I can't just be like time travel and be like, stop that. I acknowledge that I have privilege, and I also acknowledge that I did not ask for it. I preach power to the people. As long as you're not a sicko, who gives a shit? Seems pretty self-explanatory and straightforward. This will be enough alcohol for tonight. Don't really care if I get any tomorrow. I wanted to get a pink bottle of champagne to toast off my family's oldest pet who has recently passed away, and it's sad. And what's just as sad is you see society getting dumber by the minute. White fragility is total bullshit. As soon as I try to defend myself and say, hey, not all white people are racist, I feel like that's kind of a racist statement. I then get told, well, you need to check your white privilege and stop exposing your white fragility. And as a white person, that gets really irritating because it's like, man, not all white people are racist. You know, there are plenty of people out there in this planet, like 8 billion people on Mother Earth right now, all dealing with the same BS in different cultures, experiencing the assholes who ruin it. There are plenty of assholes who ruin it for blacks. Excuse me, sorry. Allergies there. You know, Chris Rock said it. He called it an N-word moment. I'm not going to say it because I'm white. But us whites have the same thing. We call it a cracker moment. When you see one of your dumbass white friends being racist as hell, you're like, cracker, could you not do that shit, please? We're not trying to get a bad rap. He gonna do it. Don't even get me started on Kanye West. He's got mental problems he needs to work through. I acknowledge that. But, like, dog, black people have been oppressed just like Jewish people. So what the fuck is this anti-Semitic BS? Kiss my ass with that shit.
Now, this is one of those topics that I've really wanted to cover for quite a long time, but as with many of the complicated...
You know what I get a kick out of it too, because people are like, Adolf Hitler was white, and I'm like, yeah, fuck Adolf Hitler, what's your point? There are plenty of black people who have done dumb shit that make black people look bad. And if you point that out as well, you get labeled a racist, and the same argument ensues on the other side. We're not all like that. And I respect that. Now, white people are getting a small taste of what they've done to people for like the last several decades, and they're whining about it with their microaggression. You need a fucking microscope to see it. That's why it's called microaggression. You don't see a transgendered black, gay, female firefighter spraying you because you're a straight, white, heterosexual, cis male, and they're just sick of your crap. In regards to like Dylan bitching about drag shows getting restricted, look, it's just like when adults misbehave with their things. If you were not exposing minors to inappropriate things like that, people wouldn't have a problem with drag if it was not being exposed to children. When I was a kid, my idea of drag was Bugs Bunny dressing up as a chick and messing with Elmer Fudd for the whole episode. Perfectly harmless. And when I became more mature and realized that was a thing that some adults do, I was able to accept it because it wasn't forced down my damn throat. But that's neither here nor there. And these days, you can't even dress goth without somebody assuming you're drag or trans, and that's just stupid. And then you got people in the goth community who call you a mallcore goth poser because you're not goth enough in their eyes. And it's like, who the fucking god made you the king and queen of all goths, you know? Like, fuck off. And then you got these fucking assholes. Just because you're white and because white people have systematically done some fucked up shit, and now all white people are bad for the rest of time, fuck that. Fuck that shit. And isn't it rich when you hear a female going on some TV interview? So what are straight white cis men good for? And then you hear the chick to her next to her go, absolutely nothing. Good God. Ha! What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Okay, we gotta be quiet. Shh.
Topics that we get into on this channel, I have had a hard time articulating my thoughts. That was, of course, until I stumbled across a YouTube video recently titled, Asking Britons, Are Straight White Men the Problem? Also, if you are new to planet Earth, a Briton is a person from Britain, all of whom may or may not sound like Russell Brand.
What is Spain really? It's only something someone made up.
Or the crumpling of a chip packet. I'm kidding, obviously.
You know, British people, Cobra is 80% British, yeah. You think of Big Ben the clock tower. And one second.
Get away with a great deal at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Mute. Then an ad from Hyundai. Ah, but it keeps YouTube free. Big Bang Strikes 12. This was posted about 3 days ago, and the dude only has 38 subscribers. I'll give you 39, bud. You did a beautiful job restoring Big Ben. It's just chef's kiss. There's the bloody sound. Would you like to see my Big Ben? Can I butter your crumpets? Isn't that cheeky fun, YouTube?
English accents are adorable. Don't yell at me in the comments. The video
Well, considering that Australians fucking descended from Great Britain, I mean, the white ones at least.
question is a young woman named Jess asking a series of people, most of whom are white.
So a young woman named Jess, basically like Matt Walsh, going around with the microphone asking really obnoxious questions to try to offend people and get clout on the internet. Gotcha.
About what straight white men are good for, if straight white men are important, and if they occupy too many roles in government and so on. And the answers are about what you'd expect.
What are straight white men good for? Straight white men?
Yeah.
Not a lot.
I would bet.
Oh my god. Stop. The bitch about systematic oppression is, I don't know who picks it. I don't know who fucking picks it. But society systematically chooses who the fuck they're going to oppress and who the fuck's going to have more privilege. And they just ignore it, let it coast out. Now that everyone else is starting to get equality, fuck sickos. All these white assholes in the past who are now dead cannot face justice for the crap they've done to Native Americans, to blacks, to minorities, etc., trans, LGBTQ+. And people who are part of these groups, these individuals, these people, these cultures, they're pissed. They want vengeance. And it's why I term the coin revenge hatred. You know what I'm saying? Because that just sums it all up. And so that because the assholes who died can't be persecuted, who of course gets blamed for it? The white people of the future who are now sobbing with white tears. You know what my white tears taste like? It tastes like pink champagne. Which is for 21 and up.
All of the things I have owned and will own that this woman is married to a straight white man.
Do you think straight white men are important?
No.
We're utter fucking trash.
I wonder, is it that the Irish hate straight white men or just themselves? Ooh, I am on one today.
Sometimes I like
Sydney Naughty.
rational. Sometimes they might be like really straightforward, like even about feelings. They are more like practical sometimes.
So get the gay German dude to do a bit on it too.
I have to assume this man is not a heterosexual, which leads me to ask, are they gays not practical?
What are straight white men good for?
Being rude and making you feel uncomfortable.
Are straight white men
being rude. Okay, so let me paint you a fucking scenario, and don't hate me for this. But you're out at the pub with your mates having a pint, and some woman broke up with her man, and she's an absolute drunken mess over it. All her girls are sitting there like any guy with their one guy pal going through the same thing. You'll get over it. You don't need them. You're too good for them. On and on and on. Wham. As Terrence Pont famously said, wham. Takes a real man to drink pink champagne on camera, and I'll have you know that the dog that passed away that I'm drinking this for happened to be a female, but let's not be gender specific with alcohol or any drink for that matter. I get so tired of the whole, oh, it's a girl's drink. Shut up. Here's where the genders have a double standard on that. Going back to what I was just saying, fucking If a dude sees like a hot chick with your friends and starts walking up to her and hitting on her, and oh my god, you have the most amazing tits, starts grabbing on her. Hey, my ex-girlfriend was a real cunt. You want to go out with me? That dude's gonna get slapped, kicking the balls, pepper sprayed, have a drink on his face, probably have an attempted rape charge thrown on him. But let's like reverse the genders because I'm an ass like that. Yeah. Here comes obnoxious white girl wasted chick on tequila. Feeling up your biceps. Oh my god, do you work out? You have the most amazing biceps. Okay, so my last other half was a total asshole. Will you give me a chance? As soon as you reject her, you get called a fag. As soon as you tell her to quit touching you, people are going to look at you and laugh and then call you a fag because it's like, what, dude? You got a chick touching you. You're a guy. Suck it up, pussy. Totally different scenario when it's a dude. And if you try hitting her for touching you without your consent, you go to jail for assault on a female. And if you don't like it, well, suck a cunt. Because women have it a lot harder sometimes too, fellas. And so society has a fucked up way of systematically oppressing people, but also making sure everyone gets a small taste of oppression so nobody's left out. And you acknowledge that red pill thought, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this idea that women and men can't just be friends. I don't see why not. When there's less pressure to date and have sex and just hang out and make companionship. It doesn't have to involve fornicating. You know, women and men are experiencing the same things, but it's shaped differently based on how they're raised and how culture treats women and men in general. But
Important. I mean, they think they're very important. You know, they're just as important as everyone else, but I do sometimes they get a bit inflated sense of self. Do you think they're important?
so you think that straight white men think we're just the top shit, right? Yeah, there are some cocky people out there that exist in all sexualities, really. It's the truth. You might get that one gay person that's just like super out about it, does not give a fuck, and then thinks all white, straight, whatever people are scum. And if you argue with them, you automatically get called a homophobe. And it's like, okay, so these people bitch about how they're sick and tired of being assumed a certain way, but then it's okay to do it to people like me because we're not like them. God damn it, hypocrisy makes my head hurt worse than a fucking hangover.
So, what would you say they're good for?
I mean, they've got value, obviously, but
Now you're seeing a British black woman who is, because of the way blacks have been oppressed by the white race, obviously they're going to have a negative outlook towards us whites. Now, you don't have to, if you'd love to check out the Sydney Watson video. There you go. And give her a subscribe, and I'll.
it's like it's been them exclusively, so they're good at things, but just not everything all the time.
Groundbreaking.
You think they're good for in society?
If they give them their bank card, that's pretty good.
So let me get this straight.
The stereotype, their bank card, oh, because we're white, so automatically we're rich. We have lots of money. If you were to assume that crap about a random Jewish person, they would look at you like you're a anti-Semitic piece of shit. That's a stereotype, my friend. I'm like, right, but assume that about the average straight white guy who doesn't have any particular religious affiliate, and nobody bats a fucking eye. Got it.
They're utter trash unless they're giving you their bank card. Okay. Don't expect any thoughtful feedback from me about this because I hate all these people. While this video is only a few minutes long, it does demonstrate to us some.
Now, I don't necessarily hate these people, but I disagree with what they're saying. They've never done anything to me personally. Like, I try not to hate as long as you're not a sicko. I don't care. Like, I genuinely hate my YouTube trolls because they go out of their way to fuck with me in real life and they think they're winning some delusional bullshit game that they've concocted in their fucking sad, pathetic fucking lives. And it's like, do you see Cobra personally spending all day, every day, texting my trolls? No. I don't care. I don't got time for that shit. I'm like, I'm at my next cooking video, working on my guitar playing, my next drink combo, my next video response. I don't care about these sad fucking losers enough to respond to them outside of YouTube.
Very interesting things about the state of this conversation. It also served to remind me that while almost every group in society experiences criticism and ridicule in one form or another, some of that same criticism and ridicule directed towards some groups of people is more socially acceptable than others. In
That's how systematic oppression works, Sydney, 100%.
years, there really does appear to have been a ramping up in.
And that's the bitch about systematic oppression, is in our fucking society, wouldn't it be nice if like women and men could just have equality? And it's like, okay, now that women have more equality, all of a sudden now we gotta crap on men. That's not how this should work. It doesn't solve anything, it just creates more oppression, you know. And the same thing could be said about the racism and the homophobia, straight phobia, cisgendered phobia, transphobia BS. You know, and it's just shit, to be honest. Absolute fucking shit. And J.K. Rowling's being called a transphobe because she didn't completely kiss their ass. She said, hey, I support trans people, but that doesn't mean they should have more privilege than cis people because of the way cis people treated them. That's kind of unfair. And they argue, well, it's unfair the way that they got treated. And it's like, yes, it is. So don't be a hypocrite about it. It's 2023, dude. If you are a straight, white, cisgendered, heterosexual male, you should be able to acknowledge that, yes, you have privilege. And I do, I have privilege, on top of being super autistic. So I'm just reeking of privilege, YouTube. I didn't ask for it. At the same time, I don't abuse it. Furthermore, I acknowledge that there are people out there who suffer from disabilities worse than mine. So there's that as well. Also, St. Patrick's Day is coming up. And I have some sweet new merch on my customized girl. I got a funny female t-shirt that promotes female masturbation and women's liberation. It literally says, drink some Jack and Jill off, because, you know, the bottle looks oddly similar to a Jack Daniels bottle, which is what I was going for, but I didn't quite put the logo on there just for copyright reasons, because I don't want Jack Daniels suing me. That would be bad, okay? But we don't care if Jack Daniels is your favorite goddamn whiskey. We do not approve of this. And Customized Girl would have shut it down and said, design not approved. So they're good about that. Because they don't want to get in trouble too. But I made a St. Patrick's Day mug. I put a leprechaun on the front smoking a pipe. But leprechauns are actually a form of Irish cultural appropriation. So what I did was I photoshopped a leprechaun to have green hair instead of your traditional Irish red. And then in doing so, it also made the beer in his mug green. So I'm like, you know what? That works. Fuck it. I put it on a mug. The front of it's got a 4-leaf clover that says lucky. On the back, it's got a leprechaun smoking a pipe with 4 pot leaves on it. It says St. Patrick's Day. And right underneath it, it says, "Don't fucking pinch me." If you like the idea of this mug, if it sounds humorous enough, I shall put it in the comments section for you to peruse. Now, buying those cups actually helps support my channel. So even if you can't get an Etsy wand, yeah. I don't release as much merchandise as I used to because I've got like well over 200 items on my store. That's plenty. I give my fans options so they're not bored. Some of the shirts are clever. Some of them promote Cobra Cult. Some of them promote my channel. Some of them rip on my trolls. But some of them are just fun, you know. General broad sense of King Cobra's fangs stole over at customizedgirl.com. Yeah. I get money from them for every about like 30 days or so. And I can't complain because my customized girl shop is sweet. I also got some Power to the People t-shirts. I'm thinking about making another one and putting it on my shirt. As long as you ain't a sicko, who cares? Outside of that, that's what Cobra Cult's preaching, man. It's power to the people. Power's in our minds. We create our own realities. We can create a world where equality exists to a point. Like I said, as long as you ain't a sicko. Some people just don't deserve equality. I know that sounds incredibly un-PC to say in today's crazy times, but there, I said it. Do murderers deserve equality? Absolutely not.
Negative commentary not only about the white population, but about straight white males generally. You're all bad. We've gotten to a point where it's almost normal to casually mock and degrade this group without any.
Well, you want to whine because it's become almost a casual thing to be able to mock straight white cisgendered people. See, when you whine about that kind of crap, that's white fragility in a nutshell. It's like after all the crap that your people pulled, but at the same time, it's like you as a person did not have control over that because we mentioned that before. I don't have a DeLorean.
Even raising an eyebrow. And it rolls me around to the question of why is this okay and how did we get here? So that is what
Why is it okay? Because apparently revenge hatred's hypocrisy at its finest. To a point. The kind of revenge hatred that whites get is not as bad as it could be. And that's why I got here to this point today.
want to discuss today, the demonization of straight white men. But
the idea of demonization is seen as a bad thing, and that's another thing. Well, don't even get me started on that. The idea of, oh, Satan and demons, oh, so evil. And I preach in my religion to use your satanic powers for good. You know.
Are you once again board my hell gondola, and we become even closer as the best friends that anybody could ever have through the constant torment that is modern society? Let's hear from today's sponsor, Extra Wallets. Important things go in a case. A skull for your brain, a pocket for your phone, a wallet for your money. Unless, of course, your wallet looks like this, in which case you might be a psychopath. But fear no more. You do not have to become Hannibal Lecter. You can modernize your life and get yourself an Extra wallet. Extra makes a rain.
Let me ask you this before we continue with Sydney Watson's promo here. How the fuck are you supposed to end segregation if you create more segregation? Because the argument is literally the same on a lot of sides here. So, like this almost cultural acceptance of bashing on straight, white, heterosexual white people that are cisgendered. And the only way they can escape it is to identify as trans or gay. And I'm like, that's kind of bullshit. They shouldn't have to be forced to change their identities. If you genuinely are like that, then congratulations, more power to you. Keep doing your fabulous thing. As long as you ain't a sicko, I don't judge. Yes, I think pronouns are fucking stupid, but who the fuck is it really hurting? Somebody wants to be called a they there, okay. But at the same time, no one's gonna go out of the way to ask everyone their fucking pronouns because that shit gets annoying real quickly.
Of smart wallets that come in a range of different materials and colors.
So while I can understand the whole revenge hatred thing where it's like, okay, blacks, women, minorities, trans, gays, etc., have all been oppressed by the white, straight, cisgendered male. So, like, even if it's only microaggression, how is that going to fix anything? It might make you feel temporarily good, but now you're just as bad as microly racist as, or homophobic or whatever, straight phobic. We'll just say that. Oh, you can't say straight phobic because it's not a thing. Why not? It's all about equality with people like these individuals. Like, I got no reason to hate you because you're gay, so why are you gonna hate on me because I'm straight? That's all I'm asking. That's all the fuck I'm asking, and that's a fair question. I'm not trying to be a dick. I know sometimes when I go off on fucking YouTube, I tend to get a little off track with my rants.
They have premium leather wallets, aluminum wallets, which are all slim for storage and make accessing your cards quite literally as easy as pushing a button. But even better than that, Extra now has so many other goodies like cash clips, key trackers, and even this handy little tracker card. You just chuck it in the sun, charge it up, put it in your wallet, and if you're a person who's like, where is my wallet? I don't remember. My brain lost that information. Just give your wallet a ring. That's not a joke.
That's handy to have if you're not as smart as some people. My wallet never leaves my pants pocket unless I'm paying for something, checking my my card information or what have you. I never take it out unless I'm washing my jeans or I'm using it to pay for something. That just, trust me, makes it so much simpler. You don't got to worry about it. But like, life gets a little chaotic, so I get it.
An app that lets you bring your wallet and then gives you a map to it. Personally, I love Extra because I actually use these when I go out because bras are not places for money and handbags inhibit my dancing. So if you too want to stop being a psycho and get a better wallet, click the link in the description or head over to shop.extra.com/Sydney Watson or use code Sydney at checkout for 25% off your order.
Nothing screams, what's this chick up to? Walking into Starbucks, be like, oh, I don't got my purse on me. So she just reaches into her cleavage and starts pulling out like $100 bills. Be like, so what do you do for a living? OnlyFans, stripper, hooker? I mean, no judgment. It's, I'm all about hashtag girl boss here. Probably an OnlyFans model. Which I support OnlyFans to a point. However, it defeats the purpose of what we're trying to teach young girls here, is that you don't need your body to get noticed in the world. You can be a scientist. You can be a veterinarian. You can be president of the United States. You can be the next doctor, the next mayor, the next firefighter, cop, whatever. You could be a civil rights activist that fights for gender equality. As well as racial equality. And it doesn't help the fact that, yeah, but this famous celebrity who's of age made like $1 million showing off her tits. As soon as your daughter turns 18 or 19, if she wants to start an OnlyFans, you cannot legally stop her because she is a fucking adult. And there are some really creepy guys out there where it's just like, oh, barely legal, yeah. Which, you know, at least they're legal. But that's someone's daughter, dude. Come on. Like, this is why 21 is as low as I go. Thank you very kindly. Because, like, what fun is having a girlfriend if you can't share a bottle of pink champagne with her? Yeah. You know what women want? They want a man who's strong, who's got big biceps, who has facial hair, who can chop wood with his shirt off and do manly things, and grunt. But he's also sensitive enough to crack open a bottle of pink champagne and cuddle with you on the couch and watch Gilmore Girls or Twilight or whatever she's into, you know. Manly enough to do his manly responsibilities, but sensitive enough to fulfill your needs and wants. Yeah. You get done chopping wood and doing manly shit, you know. Not saying women can't chop wood, because I'm sure they can. That piece of shit don't appreciate me, that mother. My mother was right on there, the same. And after a couple of fucking 100 logs or so, she's just like, yeah, she felt good. Yeah.
Some of you might recall in the not too distant past, Joe Rogan finding himself in the news.
I support Joe Rogan. I'd love to go on his podcast, smoke a fucking fat cigar, fucking drink some whiskey or whatever, you know. I haven't had a cigar in a hot minute, dude. I don't get me a cigar one of these days. I know I got a cigar cutter somewhere. It's buried in my drawer of goodies. I can't fucking find it. So next time I go to the cigar store, I'm gonna pick up an extra cigar cutter. Yeah.
Again for making a statement about straight white men. During a 2021 podcast episode, Rogan made the following comments.
You can never be woke enough. That's the problem. It keeps going.
That's the fucking truth. You cannot be woke enough. And it's so irritating. It's good to be informed on the issues and like to speak your mind. But then it gets to a point where it crosses that fucking line where it's like, okay, now you're not woke enough. And then that's all anything becomes anymore is woke BS. And people get sick of it. See, I don't want to come off as preachy on my channel, man. I'm just speaking my opinion. It doesn't make it fact, you know. And I have good morals just like anybody else, so I don't want it to come off as, oh, look at this white knighting simp woke fucking Richard Sigling piece of shit who needs to get laid, fucking alcoholic, fucking autistic loser, fuck, drinking pink champagne like some kind of sissy boy. Who the you know, they're all going to say, I don't know what the fuck they're going to say, dude. It's just predictable at this point. And they're all fucking losers because if they say anything, they get people silence them. It's like, okay, so if you don't speak up for the issues, then you're a bigot because you don't speak up for the issues. And as soon as you try to speak up for the issues, you get called a simp, or you get told you're just virtue signaling, or you get called white fragility or whatever fucking stupid shit, you know. It's just dumb. Like, modern culture is fucking dumb. I had black friends growing up, man. I had no idea how bad that they had it, and I had no idea about my white privilege. And when you're growing up in that kind of setting, it's just perfect. You know, it's not about you're a piece of shit. It's not about feel sorry for me or any of that. And a lot of black people don't want you to feel sorry for them. That's the thing of it, dude. 100. As long as you ain't a fucking racist towards black people, they don't care. You know? Like, a lot of people get annoyed by that shit when it's like you try too hard to be offended for someone else. like, what's more offensive, the Land O'Lakes Native American or like the Native American mascot on the Washington Redskins logo? If you answer the Washington Redskins logo was more offensive, you answered correctly, or at least in my opinion. Well, I'm not going to speak for natives. But whenever, I never saw it as a bad thing growing up because I grew up with the Land O'Lakes mascot being a native. And I never saw it as a racist thing. I saw it here as someone who's lived off the land and she is like Mother Earth and she gives from the land and gives to you. And it just, I never saw it as a, but then like I'm a millennial from 1991, so what do you expect? Between you're not woke enough and now you have to be offended for somebody else because, and it's like, you know what? I'm pretty sure we're all capable of being offended. I'm pretty sure we don't need someone else's help to do that, but that's just my fucking opinion. Not that it matters. And it's not just straight white men, it's men in general are getting demonized, especially if you're straight. And it's just like, okay, there are a lot of great dudes out there who want equality. You get the one asshole that uses feminism to get pussy, and when it works, shocker. It's just like women saying, "Oh yeah, I'll totally suck you off, but you got to give me a wedding ring." That, gentlemen, is what they call a booby trap because if she gets sick and tired of the way you look, she can divorce you and make up some bullshit and take all your shit. But if it's gender reversed, it ain't gonna happen. That being said, you should not marry someone unless you're absolutely fucking sure. Don't do it because you're pressured and you don't want to feel alone the rest of your life because we all die alone. We do. Doesn't matter if you find somebody or not, you're still going to die alone. It's just more painful when you leave someone behind. Or is it more painful knowing you never had anybody? That is one of the bigger debates. You acknowledge that all of a sudden getting rejected by chicks doesn't hurt. You're like, your loss. I want to focus on my YouTube career and building my fucking clock tower dream house.
It keeps going further and further and further down the line. And if you get to the point where you capitulate, where you agree to all these demands, it will eventually get to straight white men are not allowed to talk.
Right.
Because it's
That's exactly how it is. You might think Joe Rogan is a controversial figure, but he's exactly right. And once you get to that point, then pretty much it'll get to the point where nobody's allowed to talk because you might offend somebody. Like, this is what I've been saying on my channel for a hot minute. Like, you can't say the clouds are white, even though there's white clouds in the sky, because that's a sign of white supremacy. And it's just like, okay, I hate white supremacy, but the fact that the clouds just happen to be a white is a shitty coincidence. You're trying too hard. Just calm the fuck down. You get these overly politically correct assholes. They literally come off as like the most PC people, but when okay, so how is that racist? And then when they explain their meaning behind it, they come off as more racist than the assholes that they're fighting against. People are saying chug it, and I'm like, I'm trying to make it last throughout the video here. Now, this pink champagne is delicious, and it is for 21 and up. Okay, so women treat you like shit. That doesn't mean you gotta be an incel fucking loser. Blacks treat you like crap because they're sick and tired of the racism received to them by white people. That doesn't mean you gotta be a bigger racist back and bitch about your whiny microaggression. Wah. At the same time, when someone says, "How is it racist?" Educate me. You know, Sharon Arden, Ozzy's wife, hired a hairdresser, and she was black. Rachel, I think that's her name. Yeah. That plane crash that killed Randy Rhoads also killed their hairdresser, and it was so fucking tragic, dude. But their hairdresser was black, so when people were accusing Sharon of being a racist, I was just like, okay, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. Wasn't there a hairdresser back in the day? Well, if you support Pierce Morgan, then you must be a racist. And I'm just like, why? Because Pierce Morgan made some cheeky comment about Prince Harry and his wife. Because Prince Harry's wife has a little bit of complexion in her skin, he's automatically a fucking racist. You know, she's not like African Queen, fucking tribal paint on her face, making noises, voodoo magic up in here, like cutting heads off of chickens, you know. Okay, I'll stop while I'm ahead. I mean, the idea, that's the thing of it, is a white person cannot comment on someone. And I don't want to get into it because I don't give a fuck about the royal family. They're doing their thing, I'm doing my thing. I don't like Prince Andrew because he hung out with Jeffrey Epstein, and there's photos of it. That's why I call him a nasty wanker. That t-shirt is on my customized girl. It's got a picture of the British flag and Big Ben on the front. Very nice. And on the back, it's got a pentagram because I worship Satan / idolize him. On the front, it says in Harry Potter fonts, Prince Andrew is a nasty wanker. And on the back, it's got a pentagram with a crown in the middle of the pentagram, and it says, God save the Queen. Bit of a cheeky t-shirt, yeah. Oh, voodoo magic's real, dude. You don't want to New Orleans type shit. Oh, lordy. In the name of the unholy Father, the unholy Ghost, and the unholy Spirit, Satan be praised. You don't want to fuck with, like, there's just certain things you don't want to fuck with. When I fuck with voodoo magic, would I want to learn it? Absolutely. All branches of magic and like spiritual, supernatural type shit, you know. It's almost nerdy because you can hear the Pokemon song in reference to your witchcraft. I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. There's a shitty Pokemon pickup line. You go to a bar, and it's like, hey, you like Pokemon? You want to see my Arbok?
Privilege to express yourself when other people of color have been silenced throughout history.
And a blessing for the Queen of Voodoo herself. I forget her name off the top of my head. But you know the one I'm talking about, her graves in New Orleans. That's one bitch you don't want to fuck with. You don't want to piss off her ghost. No. Voodoo magic is the kind of crap that possessed Robert the Doll, which I'd love to take Sean to visit him and ask for his permission if me and Sean could take a selfie together and be like, bro, I respect the energy that created you. This is seriously fucking epic. Like, can I hold my Ouija board, my dummy Sean, and like pose you for a picture? That'd be sweet, dude. Big fan. Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play? I tried to model my dummy Sean after Billy from Dead Silence. So he kind of looks like him. It's a mixture of that and Charlie McCarthy.
will be
Green eyes.
you're not allowed to go outside because so many people.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, if it gets to the point where white people can't go outside, then I'm like, well, get used to it, man. I'm sorry, but this is kind of what they call historical payback. If it gets to that point, I'm willing to accept it as a white person. That's how much I acknowledge my white privilege. If I can't go outside without someone calling me a cracker and throwing shit at me and being like, you straight motherfucker, I hate you, then so be it. So be it, dude. I'm gonna get called a faggot for drinking pink champagne on camera, and I'm like, dude, I'm drinking this for my dead dog Lily. Fuck you. One, that's homophobic, and two, that's so fucking sexist. The idea that, it's just the problems with our society. It's right there, and I'm getting at this. Oh, you're drinking a girl's drink. It's so irritating, dude. I'm like, you just mad as hell because you ain't got the balls to drink pink champagne on camera. Be bougie as fuck. Cheers, Lily dog. I like pink champagne when I'm celebrating a good life occasion or as a good gift for mourning, The thing that sucks about funerals is that people they cry their eyes out, and that's perfectly fine and natural. But like me personally, I'm like, yeah, it's okay to cry for the loss, but celebrate life. Celebrate the life of the deceased person, fucking mourning their loss is one thing, but do not pity them, pity the living.
Prison for so many years. I mean, I'm not joking.
No, I know.
It really will get there. It's that crazy.
Yeah.
We just got to be nice to each other, man.
I agree with that. We gotta be nicer to each other, but I seriously hope it don't come to that, to be honest. I think you might be being a bit melodramatic because when white people start getting a small taste of what the fuck everyone else has had to go through, it's like, this shit sucks. Yeah, I don't blame y'all for being pissed. So, like, if white people who are complaining about the microaggression they're receiving right now, imagine it amplified by 1,000,000. You walk down the street, some black cop sees you and just says, shoot your ass because he's sick and tired of whitey shit, and then nobody comes to your fucking defense because, well, white people are racist white trash, so that black cop had every right to shoot him. Even though what if that white person wasn't doing anything? Just perfectly innocent, minding his or her own business. How would you feel as a white person? No justice served for your fellow white person. You'd be steaming pissed, dude. That's exactly how blacks feel regarding George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. Having this fucking conversation for the millionth time, it's like beating a goddamn dead horse. The hypocrisy, speaking of Wyoming, because we're cowboy state down here, the hypocrisy with this stinks more than a fresh pile of horse shit. I get so tired of people saying black power and white power. That's stupid. Power to the people. Power is in our hands to change it. As long as you ain't a sicko or an inhuman, racist, sexist, abusive piece of shit or a homophobic, transphobic, whatever, I'm not going to go out of my way and be like, excuse me, when interacting with people, what are your pronouns? Because I don't want to offend you. Because usually you can tell the kind of people who have pronouns. They just have a look and the way they sound. It's just like, are you going through puberty again? No, that's the hormones. Gotcha. So I take it you're one of them pronoun types. So that's just fine. What are your pronouns? Well, you keep doing your thing, man. Woman, they, them, it's. See, back in my day, if you would have called a gay person an it, you would have been seen as a homophobic piece of shit. But these days, there are people out there who want to be called its. I'll call them theirs until I know their personal pronouns because that's their problem. I'm not trying to be a cheeky bastard with it. Pronouns are stupid, but at the same time, as long as you're a decent human being about it, who is it really hurting? You know?
The result was an onslaught of people both mocking and disagreeing. Some people pointed out that Rogan has one of the largest online platforms and that
Oh, so because Joe Rogan has a platform with $100 million podcast deal, that he's doing just fine unless he lost his PIN number. Oh, fuck off. So he doesn't care about that. He's going on his deal and saying, hey, he's worried about white people getting more hatred and we just need to be nicer to each other. And it's frustrating because there are some people who are going to be like, where the fuck was that when the blacks were getting bullied? And there were several people. Not all of them were white, and that's what makes this argument very frustrating because it's like, man, I fight for equality as long as you ain't a sicko. And this is, the kind of bullshit we gotta deal with. You might find Cobra to be crude and another gross male.
himself is a straight white man.
So here comes Cenk Uygur. Of course, Cenk Uygur is gonna. I used to be a Young Turks fan. I say used to be. I don't got any problems with them personally, but it just got to a point where I unsubscribed from the Young Turks, and I don't got a problem with Cenk Uygur or Anna Kasparian or any of them. I used to be a regular watcher, but then they got this big corporate deal. And then I don't know, dude. And then you hear about like Cenk Uygur having the incident with the airport where he was acting like a total diva kind of thing, and you're just like, bro. So here's Cenk Uygur. Oh, Hank, Jank, however you fucking pronounce it. Hank Kale, I sell propane and propane accessories. Buh! Dang it, Bobby. Peggy, the boy ain't right. My name's King Cobra. I sell champagne and champagne accessories. Buh!
Let's just note the biggest irony first. He said soon white men might not be allowed to talk. He gets paid $100 million to talk.
Okay, so here's Cenk Uygur trying to point out irony that Joe Rogan gets paid $100 million to talk. I mean, you want to compare apples to oranges, bud. How much money do you get paid to do the Young Turks? I'm not trying to pick fights, but like, you want to let non-binary Biden dictate everything, and that's okay. That's too far, Cobra. Jeez, that's a joke. Don't take that seriously. I respect non-binary people, but you know how the Republicans are. They'll take that joke and be like, "Oh my God, that's funny." That's making fun of the woke assholes more than anything. It's not making fun of Joe Biden or non-binary folk. And why do you think some of these people choose to be a certain gender? Because they're sick and tired of their gender being oppressed, and when they see the other gender getting more privilege, I mean, like, you know how it is. Like, women get oppressed by men, so then women get tired of it and fight for equality and get it. And then when they start to have the slightest political advantage and have a little bit more privilege than men, what do men do? They get sick of it and become trans women because they want some of that sweet privilege. because now men are being demonized in our society. And that's bad for trans people because it makes them look bad too. It's like, hey man, you know, as long as you ain't a sicko, who gives a shit? And if you want to smell like King Cobra JFS, you got to check out Tactical Soap, coupon code King Cobra, dude. I had my first therapy sesh with a nice gal. She seemed really nice. I was a little skeptical at first, but I'm very good at reading people's energies. And she seemed like a nice gal. The first session went pretty good, so I'm not going to disclose anything outside of that. But I did want to smell good, not for her specifically, but like just in general. Whenever I go out in public, I like to shower with my soap, make sure I smell good, you know. And yeah, women like the way I smell, dude. Even if they don't like immediately say anything, it's just, ooh, that goth hippie dude smells good. What I'll do is I'll shower with my bond number one. I'll get out of the shower. I'll get dressed. Put on my cologne from the tactical soap company that I have. I currently have bond number two cologne. I'll rub that all over my clothes. And then I'll get my bond number one body butter and rub it all over my body and my face. Get my skin nice and soft. Then I'll slap my face with some God of War pheromone beard oil, which will leave my beard nice and soft. Throw on some deodorants, which next time I order tactical soap, I'm gonna try getting some of their deodorants. Because I've tried all their products, not all the scents, but I've tried all their products except for the deodorant, and I'm looking forward to checking that out. But tactical soap has the little cologne sticks. They have the body butter lotion. They have the soap, the beard oil, and now they got deodorants. And using coupon code King Cobra will spice up your marriage. You want your man to smell as good as I do? Old Spice, what are you, 12? Man up and get some tactical soap. Now, here's the thing of it. Just because tactical soap products are designed to get women horny does not mean you'll get laid. You have to realize, full disclaimer, that there is this thing called consent. That you can smell irresistible for the ladies, but that's still their choice. They cannot make a fucking pheromone product that makes women want to fuck you on the spot and just rip their clothes off. They don't care. They want it now. That'd be super illegal. That's why the pheromone soap that I wear it has the effect, but it's subtle enough to get her attention. It's not enough to, like, you know what I'm saying? People don't understand the mindset of an alpha male who wears tactical soap. You know what? Some chick doesn't want to fuck you. You're not gonna make a scene about it. But like it's because you can't handle a strong man because you know that that's not gonna work. You reject a chick for being too fat, and you're automatically a pig. And all men are the same. But if a chick rejects you for being too fat, no one's gonna call her a simp shaming hypocrite. Because if you say that, now you're slut shaming, and you see how the pattern in our society works. It's a bit irritating, but you know, You're still going live? Cool, because I want to try some exotic jerky while we're doing the Sydney Watson video response. Get regular beef jerky, Chipotle, garlic flavored, Bison, elk, oh, spicy alligator, kangaroo jerky, and camel. That all just sounds interesting. I tried the spicy alligator, or bleh, the non-spicy version earlier. If they fall off, who cares? Just pick them up. Buffalo Bob's kangaroo jerky. Seems not like fitting if we're doing a Sydney Watson video response.
For a living. He might get paid to talk more than anyone else in the country.
And the look on his face is like, oh, if I had his kind of money. Oh, jeez. Wait till it gets back to Sydney Watson on the video before he cracked this son of a bitch open. Man. We legitimately have some Buffalo Bob's kangaroo jerky. This is made with kangaroo meat, people.
I'm pretty sure that Joe is a white man.
But the thoughts and commentary.
Yeah, Joe's a white male. So is Jane Cougar. And we're back to the Miss Lovely Sydney Watson. All righty then. Sydney Watson is very much an Australian immigrant. Get it open, you son of a bitch. So we're about to have kangaroo jerky officially. Ooh, that's tasty. Kangaroo jerky.
Of other people denied his point altogether. They suggested that this group does not experience any kind of bias, discrimination, and isn't under.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Turns out that a book is more durable than.
Isn't under attack in any capacity, or in the very least, not in the same capacity as minorities in Western countries or other ethnic groups.
Could you imagine, though, from like both perspectives? Like white people acknowledging, okay, yeah, white people are fucking assholes. For my Middle Eastern fans, check this out. They got some camel flavored jerky. Because there were some like Muslim countries, they can't have pork or bacon. It's considered inappropriate to their religion. So they might like want like a tasty, like maybe they can't have beef, you know, because it's considered not allowed in their religion. But they still want to experience the flavor of the, oh, you know. I don't know what the fuck Allah says about eating camels, and quite frankly, I don't care because I don't practice that faith. Like you saw the rapper dude, we just unwrapped it. Now we went from eating camel jerky to, excuse me, yeah. Cheers, folks. I hope this is entertaining enough. We got a little bit of pink champagne, but they all have a slight different taste to them. Meaty or like gamey or what have you. I just went from eating kangaroo to camels. As somebody who can eat bacon and beef and pork, camel is a really tasty substitute.
Around the world.
And while straight white men aren't the only people that have privilege, they have the most privilege out of everyone. They've had the freedom to navigate their way around the.
My question is, how long till straight black men start facing a privilege? And then when they try to pull the whole, hey, we're black, fuck you, which I can respect that. They look at you and go, well, because you're a male and you're straight, so that cancels out what you said before. And now all of a sudden, you didn't have a problem with it when it was someone else. That being said, you gotta stop letting the assholes in social media influence the way you see the world. You gotta start making decisions for yourself. As long as you ain't a sick fuck, who gives a shit? Outside of that, stop worrying about what people think, dude. Yeah, one of my fans sent me some beef jerky to my P.O Box. And it's all like exotic flavors, YouTube. I just got done eating camel and kangaroo flavored jerky. What? That is crazy. But also, oh, is it delicious? So the Buffalo Bob's Jerky Company, you definitely got my support, dude. Go to the website, buy a bag, and entice your friends. I like doing exotic jerky flavors because you get a lot of interesting. I've had rattlesnake jerky. Would I eat cobra jerky? Abso-fucking-lutely, dude. I've had rattlesnake jerky. If someone made like jerky sticks out of cobras and sent it to me, I'd totally eat it. This is the spicy alligator version. I'm not being sponsored by Buffalo Bob's Jerky, but the fans sponsored this content. So I want to like show my love and be like, this is really appreciated, dude. How many motherfuckers do you know who will go on YouTube, you know, and be like, oh, look, we got kangaroo and we got camel jerky. We're slamming pink champagne, bitching about equality because, you know, it's like, and I'm not trying to bitch about equality because white people have had it pretty good. But like from a standpoint of, okay, I see where a lot of people are coming from, and I don't want to be too edgy with this video, kind of ease into it a little bit.
Without being marginalized of being a straight white man. So for this, Joe Rogan can now victimize himself and say, I'm a straight white man, I feel oppressed.
Dave Chappelle came out as gay at an award show. And this motherfucker getting canceled for sharing Daphne's story. Ain't that a bitch? And when you find out Daphne's story, because she dared find Dave Chappelle funny, all of her trans groups and activists and friends are like, how dare you? They're so caught up in their own like transgender identity that it's stupid. And no offense to trans people, but it's like Dave Chappelle makes fun of everything, dude. He is one of those comedians that will rip on you for being white. You're never going to see a white comedian do what Dave Chappelle does, because if he tried pulling that, they'd be like, you blackface motherfucker. But as soon as he said he was transracial, oh, now you can't say shit. Fuck out of here, dude. Alligator jerky. I had the non-spicy version earlier. Kind of peeling these open for the YouTube. You like watching me do exotic jerky reviews? Subscribe for more. And keep sending me cool snacks like this to the PayPals and the Cash Apps and the P.O Boxes, you know. All of that really helps. If I see a snack in the stores here in town, I'll buy it. Or if I don't have it locally, then just send it to me, man. Spicy alligator flavored jerky. My teeth are definitely feeling better. Start brushing them more. Oh, this jerky is so good. All of it's been good. You know, you're like your taste buds and your mind reads it. You're like, the fuck? Camel jerky, you know? And that's what gets you excited to try. Like, I don't know, man. Sort of like Lester's Fixins when you're drinking that bacon flavored soda pop. You're trying to wrap your mind around it. Like, what is this? Oh, this ain't spicy. I assumed it was spicy because of the red label. This is a barbecue flavored alligator jerky. Oh, oh. I could taste that barbecue flavor. This isn't like super rough jerky where you really gotta, you know, it's got a little bit of bite to it. But you're still gonna kind of rip on it, but it's not like super tough where you yank your teeth out trying to get it off. So appreciate the fans sending me these exotic jerkies to try, man. The company's not a sponsor, but I want to showcase these. I might end up eating them all on a live stream. I don't care.
More time we're just calling you out on your bullshit.
Very American.
Oh, you want to call it the bullshit? Okay. Yeah. Right. I'll call it the bullshit.
To say. All being white today, not as easy as it used to be, acknowledges the power and privilege of being a white man. Mistake often made by mediocre American men is confusing oppression for opposition. Do you realize that white men make up 30% of the population, but 65% of the elected officials? But we're oppressed. When were white men ever denied their right to vote or considered to be property or 3/5 of a person? Statues have ever been...
Never, to be honest. Well, unless you count white slavery, in which Scottish and Irish immigrants were made to be slaves in America. But you don't want to talk about white slavery on YouTube because that gets people triggered. I still acknowledge that I have privilege and that white people are shitty, because when you got white people enslaving other white people just because they want control, it's just like... So before you throw the whole white slavery argument in people's faces, What are the crazy flavors we got? Wild boar and beef, Chipotle and garlic, beef buffalo original jerky, elk and beef, and venison and beef peppered jerky. All of these sound quite delicious and interesting. I want to finish this bottle of pink champagne on stream. I want to finish all these jerkies. Try them all on camera. And white people have never been oppressed outside of that, to be honest. White people were never denied the right to vote unless you were a felon. Let's go for the venison and beef. Oh, get my jerky fix on for the evening. Dude, I love these exotic jerky flavors. They're so good. Trying out crazy flavors, being like, what's venison? See how gamey it is. I love me some jerky.
Or torn down that celebrate the theft and murder of white men. Holidays that we celebrate in honor of the genocide of white men. What books have been banned that teach the history of white men's oppression? Let me put it to you like this. Mediocrity isn't celebrated, it looks like oppression. Mediocrity is questioned, it looks like opposition. Oh, and my whole point goes over your head? Well,
I mean, you don't see any holidays glorifying the genocide of white men. He's, of course, referring to Thanksgiving and the genocide of natives. Boy, white people have a really nasty history of just stealing people's lands.
you look like an American.
Unsurprisingly, not much has changed in the 2 years since Rogan's comments. Plenty of people still hold the opinion that straight white men, or just white men really, are not being sidelined and don't face any kind of discrimination or marginalization.
Okay, so we don't face any discrimination or marginalization. Okay. While the discrimination we face is not as severe as, historically speaking, the kind of crap that everyone else has had to go through, now that white people have this thing called white guilt, and then as soon as we try to apologize for it or defend ourselves, saying, hey, we're not all like that, now it's white fragility. Okay. Acknowledging that, okay, yes, it's not as bad as someone else's. At the same time, it's still discrimination. That's kind of the bitch about systematic oppression and microaggression. We got wild boar, buffalo and beef, elk, and yeah. Eat these two next. Kind of going through the whole bag on one camera here and just kind of checking it out. This jerky here. We got some wild boar and beef. All right. Check that out. How we doing on the camera? Still going. Beautiful. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's total oppression compared to what blacks have had to go through. That's why it's called micro-oppression. But at the same time, it's still irritating because people today who are white did not ask for their privilege. And it's like, it's playground shit. It's what it is. Like, oh, well, you're a jerk to me, so now I get to be a jerk to you. Rubber glue back to you. And if history repeats itself in like the next 600 fucking years, us white, straight, cisgendered men face and feature oppression in some sort of microaggressive way. What kind of consequence could that have on society as a human race in like 600, 700 plus years? It could lead to us being the oppressed ones. And then how is that equality? Buffalo Bob's, wild boar and beef. This is boar flavored. Yeah. Oh, I'm liking this jerky, dude. If I saw this variety pack, the variety pack that the fans sent me to my P.O Box, if I saw it in stores, but keep in mind I've only got like 3 flavors left. But if I saw this pack in stores, I would totally buy it, dude. I'm not just saying that because the fans sent it. That's really good jerky. And it's fun being like, oh, you're eating alligator, you know.
Views have become so commonplace and so widely expressed by politicians, media figures, writers, journalists, academics, TikTok weirdos, that it's essentially become socially acceptable to casually attack this group of people for characteristics over which.
So let me get this straight. If you don't attack white people or systematically oppress them back, you get oppressed. Think back to like the 1950s, 40s, 30s, 20s, etc., when everyone else was oppressed. And if you opposed that oppression, you were immediately canceled or seen as a supporter. Watching history repeat itself time after time. Seriously fucking good jerky. I get a bunch of that kangaroo jerky and send it to Sydney Watson if she had a P.O. box. They're like, here you go, Sid. Nom, protein and meat. I don't know if they saw an Australian person eating camel jerky, or excuse me, kangaroo jerky. Got my countries mixed up. Don't yell at me. Like if the internet saw an Australian person eating camel jerky, would it explode? Can the internet handle? Can the internet handle it? We saw an Aussie eating kangaroo jerky. What is this?
They have absolutely no control.
So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the big
Of discrimination or marginalization. These views have become so commonplace and so widely expressed by politicians, media figures, writers, journalists, academics, TikTok weirdos, that it's essentially become socially acceptable to casually attack this group of people for characteristics over which they have absolutely no control.
So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men. Most of it.
Okay, that is so typical cunt news network, or as I like to call them, CNN. If it ain't Cunt News Network, it's Fox News. Because Fox News is full of fucking idiots and CNN's full of dumbass cunts. And keep in mind that if we're going by the Australian lingo here, men can be cunts too. This is elk flavored jerky, hickory smoked elk from the same lovely company, Buffalo Bob's. I got some leftover pizza from my last food review, but nobody wants to see me eat that, which is delicious, don't get me wrong, but it's like, we've already saw you review it. Man, your fans set you snacks. Review that instead. Oh yeah, dude. Elk. They all taste similar, but they all got their own flavor. Some of them are a little bit more gamey, some of them not so gamey, you know. I like meats in general, I like jerky with actual meat. So I'm like, alligator, boar, I don't give a fuck. They got that all natural red meat protein. Let's go.
Radicalized right up to the right.
And one other one, you talked about prohibiting straight males.
So here's a person on CNN being like, we got to stop demonizing people, and realizing that the oxymoron for you. He says, we got to stop criticizing people and realize that it's all white people and the radical rights fault. I'm like, you sound just like Fox News blaming CNN for everything, dude. It gets so irritating. Stay independent. YouTube. Well, this jerky is filling my tummy up with protein goodness. And the flavors. Buffalo Bob, you got some fucking damn good jerky, bud. I fuck with that. Not too tough, not too chewy. You know, you get like the jerky sticks and they're like ground, you just chew right through them, you know, like your Jack Links. I'm all for that. But when jerky is just like too tough and you really gotta to get it off, you know, it's like you shouldn't have to put work into enjoying your jerky. And the nice thing about these jerky sticks right here that I've been reviewing on camera for the delicious Buffalo Bob's, not a sponsor, is that they have a little bit of toughness to them, but they're not too tough, you know? They got the sweet spot of chewy and tough. And great flavors too, man. We have beef and buffalo. They're both beef and buffalo, down to the last two, folks. We got Chipotle and garlic flavor, excuse me, and we got beef and buffalo jerky right there. We're saving the Chipotle one for the very last. There's a night of good fun, snacking on some delicious jerky sent by the fans, and drinking on a bottle of champagne, which was generously bought for by the fans. I wasn't trying to beg for money, but I've been feeling really depressed about my little dog Lily dying, and it's just like, what do you do? She was a family dog, and like, shit. Then you see the state of the world we live in, it's just like, Depression fucking is a bitch to fight sometimes. And that my problems could be worse, if, at the same time, like, oh, you want a bitch, like, oh, here's a white person bitching about how depressed they are, where nobody wants to fucking hear it. I want to save this for the end of the video, because I've blazed through like all these jerky sticks, and honestly, super delicious. So now we got the beef and buffalo, just regular flavor. And I don't care if I get sponsored by anyone. It's just about free advertisement and people watching me try snacks and like different foods, Hashtag Buffalo Bob's jerky. My teeth are feeling good. Cut down on your sugar and brush more. Just a little sipping on the champagne. I'm liking this beef buffalo jerky. Just a regular flavor. The last one that we opened at the end of the video is a Chipotle and garlic flavor. So it's got Chipotle in it, so it might be a little bit more spicy. Oh, YouTube, you gotta get a bag of that jerky. The unboxing, the fan mail unboxing earlier. Oh, yeah. That's good jerky. Like, what's Cobra's workout routine? You're looking at it. Dumbbells sent by the fans. I need some overpriced gym membership or some snotty ass fucking non-alcoholic drinking son of a bitch. It's all about eating vegetables and being pure, and they go to the gym for narcissistic reasons, like looking at me like, nice beer gut, Cobra. It's like, they're heavy enough to create just a little bit of resistance, which is what you want when you're lifting weights. So I get the urge to lift. I do a couple curls. Yeah. What does tactical soap smell like to women? How about that one song by Bonnie Taylor where she's like, I need a hero? You know the song? When women smell tactical soap on a man, it's that feeling that song gives her, you know. References. But being a man, it's not about lifting weights, having big biceps. Oh, no, 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 no. Because you can still be a man without having, you know, the small biceps and shit. Yeah. My nose itched. The ring the fan sent is coming off. Let's sit down on the desk right over here. Don't want to lose that. Beautiful. Don't need a gym membership for this. Just sit here and be like, oh, weights are starting to come off. Tighten those up. Don't want that to happen now. That would make quite a ruckus. Oh, yeah.
White males, straight white males, yes. This is, I wrote about this in 2012. I think it's the only hope for democracy in America, and I will be leading a great movement to prohibit strict
Democracy is dead, hypocrisy is alive.
white males who I believe supported Donald Trump by about 85%.
Of course, because they support Trump, they're automatically seen as evil pieces of shit. And the radical right feels the same way about Joe Biden. The whole thing is just fucking stupid. You're having one of those days, YouTube? It's like, whew.
From exercising the franchise, and I think that will say
Exercising the franchise. You all talk about exercising. You know, it was a really bad weightlifting joke. Exhumed visions. I don't want to fight Cool Taste. I know I could easily fight him and take him and best him. It would not be a challenge. That doesn't mean I want to fight anyone, dude.
for democracy.
Just so you're all aware, this is a former TV CEO called Stephen Clifford saying that
You do realize that the way of the cobra is that cobras do not go out of their way to find drama or start a fight. Cobras only fight when they're cornered and they have to. And I'm the same way, dude. You know, Cool Taste wants to continue to talk smack on me. I don't care. At that point, that's just free advertisement from my channel, dude. And fuck sickos. I never had any problems with Cool Taste. So for him, and I never tried to do anything bad. But just for him to be out of nowhere like, oh yeah, well fuck Cobra. I'm like, okay, fuck me, fuck you. The fans know that Cool Taste has more problems in life than I do. So their plan is to get Cool Taste to start drama with me, all for like internet views, basically. And if I respond to it, it automatically makes me look like a huge piece of shit because of all the problems that Cool Taste has with his life. It's incredibly manipulative of my trolls, and it's all done just to make me look bad. And I'm like, okay, so you got someone to turn their back on one of their friends, and they all did it for a couple of views, which is pretty shitty on, I believe, Cool Taste and my trolls' part. But I'd forgive Cool Taste before I'd forgive my trolls. And if Cool Taste still wants to like hang with them and let them dictate his channel, that's sad, bro. Because you know why I'm so popular on YouTube, Cool Taste? Because I don't let the trolls dictate my channel. I get so much crap for having a mustache, for dressing goth, and quite frankly, I don't give a shit. My trolls are fucking miserable.
Straight white men shouldn't vote for the betterment of society. Given that Stephen probably wants to retain his vote, and from what I can see is a white man, I am forced to conclude that he is in fact a homosexual. Feels kind of weird knowing that I'm old enough to remember a time when other groups of people couldn't vote.
No, that's what kills me about it now. We live in a society where you got these grumpy white politicians. In order to get your vote, are being forced to tell people that they think their fellow white men should not be allowed to vote. Like, you shouldn't have to pander to the systematic domino effect. Because it's what it is. Now that blacks and minorities and women have all this privilege, now it's socially acceptable to crap on white people and no one cares. Only because of how horrible white people have been to, like, you know, straights and what have you.
And this was considered sexist and racist.
Oh yeah, that was the time, wasn't it, when it was just like, oh well, don't you dare criticize the Negro. I said it with an O at the end. Calm down, people. Don't you dare criticize the woman. Oh no, don't you do it. You racist, sexist motherfucker.
Funny. If anybody had said this.
And it's funny because now if you criticize me for what my white ancestors did, nobody stops and says, hey man, not all white people are like that. And we all need to be a little bit more tolerant of one another as a society. As long as you ain't a sicko, who gives a shit?
How about any other group of people?
Right to jail, right away.
This is almost as bad as the time that Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you ain't black.
And you ain't black.
You know, something that occurred to me while I was collecting things for this video is that it might seem like
and sometimes all you need for pedophiles is a double-barrel shotgun.
Some of these clips are cherry-picked, but actually you don't have to look very hard or very far to find them. The ideas here are not being espoused by random weirdos on Twitter. Well, I mean, they are being espoused there too, but that's not the point I'm making. They're being expressed by pundits and news outlets and politicians with enormous influence and reach, and also the weirdos on Twitter. And you can't forget about.
And I personally did not give a shit if Joe Biden or Trump were president, because they're all puppets being controlled by the 1%, the corporations, and these fucking woke retards, man.
Talk. What is white male privilege? Muscling your way through a group of pedestrians while you're staring at your phone while everyone else is waiting patiently.
That sounds like everybody else who's distracted by their fucking cell phones. Is this chick on TikTok being serious right now? What does white male privilege look like? Not giving a shit about the world doing this. I want a monster green M right here. Going down the length of this other bicep to, like, match my Cradle of Filth band logo, dude. That would look sweet. I'll definitely hit Black Sunday Tattoo Parlor up for that when I can afford it. It wouldn't be anything too serious, neither. Just the green M you see on like the original Monster flavor. That green M where it's just like, that logo, yeah, right there on the bicep right here. And right here I have like a Deathly Hallows symbol with a triangle going up this way. And then right here, a Voldemort dark mark, but the snake coming out of the skull is a hooded monocled cobra instead. See, I got ideas for tattoos, but they're bloody expensive. And I'm very happy with the 4 that I have. Because you're going to be stuck with them for the rest of your fucking life. So you better, when you're like 50 or 60 years old, you're looking back going on it, yeah, that's what's up, versus, oh, why the fuck did I get that?
Light to change. You step into the street, look at the cars, look at the light, look at the cars, look at the light. The second that light turns yellow, you're going to be the first person across the street because you're so important. So,
you know what? I'm a straight white cisgendered male, and you know what? I suffer from Asperger's, so I reek of privilege. To a lot of people, I'm super important just because I'm King Cobra JFS. It has nothing to do with my sexuality or my human race. There are lots of people who are black who are important, and it has nothing to do with because society now has to kiss their ass because if you don't, it's racist. And it's like, people only kissing their ass half the time because it makes them look progressive. And because they want to seem like they care. So it's not like Disney and fucking all these Hollywood companies can sell you bullshit to the media. Oh man, that jerky fart was stank, dude. How long is this goddamn video? Oh, for fuck's sake. It's 20 minutes long and it's... I need a cigarette. I got a pack of Marlboro NXTs. These are for 21 and up. You crush the bead in the filter. It turns into a menthol. It's basically Marlboro's version of a Camel Crush. Which, hey, it's Slytherin colors, and, I'm partial to Camel and Marlboro. I'm not that picky, to be honest. I'm not trying to glamorize all the wrong things on YouTube. little beads right there in the filter. You give it a crush and it pops. Every like 3 to 4 days, I'm gonna start picking up my weights and just going and going ham on it. Do as many curls as I feel like doing. See what happens. My diet consists of protein, high calories, and grease. So like, let's channel it into like building some. Because Wyoming is an open carry state. Check out these guns. On behalf of all my fellow Wyomingites, that was the cheesiest fucking joke I've ever told in my entire life. And I am not sorry for it.
Taking pictures, and you'll never guess what I found. It's honestly kind of rare to find. So if you look over here, it's a gaggle of straight white men, old straight white men.
So you have some it-looking person. We're not talking cousin it from the Addams family. Like, there's Addams family woke 2023. Oh, cousin it, what are your pronouns? It's in his name, you asshole. The cousin it says he doesn't want politics. He just, they them wants peace. Oh, cousin it's old man. You're doing wonderful things. Could you imagine a woke Addams family in like 2023 where, oh God. Look, I grew up in the fucking 90s and early 2000s, and like the Addams Family cartoons. Yeah, where my 90s babies at? Freakazoid, you know, pup named Scooby Doo.
Mention these ideas are depicted in film and television.
You got anything? I'm kidding. Straight white men are canceled.
They're demonstrating.
And like, okay, so you're tired of all the oppression, so your solution is to be a bigger dick to your enemies, which I totally get that because that's what I want to do to my trolls when they fuck with me. But I'm like, no, I personally will not go out of my way to bully my trolls in real life because I'm bigger and better than they are. But if my YouTube fans get sick and tired of watching their favorite celebrity on YouTube get bullied and Cobra Cult handles your ass, well, that's not my fault, bud. You fuck with greatness, you fuck with the Cobra, you're gonna get the fangs. And like it's all cheeky and fun, but like, the next 800 years, white straight people in general face this sort of micro oppression, and it gets seen as some sort of like history of oppression, kind of thing. And I'm like, it's still not gonna be enough. If like white people face this microaggression for like 1,000 years, then at least you could say that's okay, it equaled out to something. But then you want to calculate in all the crap that men have done to women for like the last several centuries. So then you might as well tack on another 1,000 years plus of that. So if you do the oppression math, you're looking at us white men getting crap for the next 4,000 years. And it shouldn't have to come to that. If people are smart enough to acknowledge that, yes, we do have privilege, but at the same time, we did not ask for it. And I will respect your pronouns as long as you ain't a sicko and you respect my heterosexual non-pronoun having face. Oh no, you don't go along with the system, so we can't respect you or what you have to say. But if you dare bully us, we'll scream about systematic oppression and fucking and I'm over here like I'm gonna go outside and have a fucking cigarette and then come back in and try to finish this video response. But it's super late, so I don't want to be on here too much longer. The society's getting dumber by the minute. See, dogs aren't going to be like, that's the beautiful thing about dogs, and in all seriousness, fuck bestiality. Is it, dogs are going to make a big deal out of it. If you see a dog humping the same sex and like the other dog's into it, they're not going to be like, oh, well, judging them, as long as you ain't a sicko, who gives a fuck? Right? Like if the dog's not into it, they'll turn around and bite your ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, a dog comes out to hang out with his buddies and the dog's nails are painted. You're not going to hear the other dog's friends going, oi, killer, what happened, man? Your fucking nails are like screaming hot pink. What are you, a fucking tranny fag? And then he's just like, man, shut the fuck up. My little girl painted these nails on me. Now, I've seen a pit bull sit very patiently and watch his little girl owner paint his nails as a male dog. Did not care, was patient as can be, and did not move while it dried. Really well-trained dog. So when people ever go off and say all this crap about pit bulls, I'm like, pit bulls are just like AR-15s. They get a bad rap because of the owners. Did I say that out loud? Cobra, you're being a little asshole tonight. Hashtag fuck mass shootings. That was a delicious treat. Just what the doctor ordered. I was craving a bottle of pink champagne to toast off Lily too, and also just to like have a drink and spit some shit, you know what I'm saying?
In all sorts of media and entertainment, and to cap it all off, anything offered in
Because remember back in the day when like Looney Tunes made super fucking racist commercials about black people? And like now, if you try to look them up, you have to find like certain videos where it's like just recapping the history. Remember in like media where it's like if you were to watch Songs of the South, people would look at you like you are a racist son of a bitch. And rightfully so. But now if we have like social media or like media projecting the other side in the same way, where it's just becoming politically acceptable to harass, it doesn't solve anything, dude. Am I willing to face the next 4,000 years of reincarnation to deal with this kind of micro oppression so that the other side somehow feels justified? Yes, but that's what it takes to end all this oppression. Fuck sickos.
Defense of straight white men is immediately shut down, with even more articles and more media personality.
Never guess what I found. It's honestly kind of rare to find. So if you look over here, it's a gaggle of straight white men, old straight white men.
Not to mention
So the person filming that was just being rude as fuck, assuming their pronouns. And it's like, don't you dare assume someone else's pronouns if they actually have them, because then you're a bigot. But then people who don't even give a fuck about pronouns assume theirs.
ideas are depicted in film and television.
You got anything? I'm kidding. Straight white men are canceled.
They're demonstrated all sorts of media and entertainment. And to cap it all off, anything offered in defense of straight white men
So people might say things like, I feel bad for the straight white men who are being silenced by the mean girls of modern feminism. Yeah, it's total fucking hypocrisy, because whenever men get treated like shit by women and they gather together for men's rights and talk about how much they hate women, they're demonized in our society. But when women experience the same crap from men and they come together for a group and call it feminism and they fight for equality and get what they want, and once what they have what they want, now it's all gang up on men. Nobody says anything about it, because if you do, you're a sexist. And I feel like if we're to acknowledge true gender equality, then men should be allowed to fight for feminism without being called a simp or without being told you're just trying to get laid. And women should be allowed to fight for male rights without being told you're just trying to get some dick, you're just trying to be a wife, you're just trying to get a wedding ring, and you're not a real female. You call yourself feminine? Fuck that shit.
is immediately shut down, with even more articles and more media personalities
Hey, cis white men, we're the worst.
doubling down on the negative anti-white male rhetoric, just like when Joe Rogan made his comments, and even more recently when Candace Owens made her own statements on the issue.
Actually, and I will stand by this as much as I possibly can, and I will be the loudest voice. The actually worst thing to be in this society, if one thing I would
You'll be the loudest voice. Okay. That competition will never be solved by anyone, especially when it comes to fucking woke culture. And yeah, like, I'm gonna be the next biggest social media influence. I'm gonna be the loudest I'm gonna be the loudest voice. You're basically saying to everyone you have the biggest cock, even though you don't. So just calm down with that. I don't give a fuck what your situation is. You're never gonna be the loudest voice, because there's always someone out there who's trying harder than you to do the same exact goddamn thing for their people. You know,
want to be is a straight white male. For some reason, that's considered problematic, right? You have to be something. So people lie. They're lying on college applications. They're like, okay, I'm white, but I'm also trans. And you're like, what? Why are you pretending? Because
who the fuck? Okay. Like, being trans shouldn't determine whether or not you get into a good college. Let's just get that 100 right now. Your grades are good. You know, all your teachers validate that you're not going to be a little fuck up and just go to college to party and do drugs and screw people. Like Zoink Scoob! Raggy, what's up? Like, totally dig, Scoob. I saw Vilma bending over to pick up her glasses, and I saw up her skirts. Ho! That's a nice looking orange thong, Scooby. You're a little pervert, Raggy. Like, screw off, Scoob. I wouldn't mind munching on her Scooby snack. In comes Fred, the total Chad. Like, oh my god, Shaggy, if you want to get up Velma's snatch, you just gotta Like, be like me. Could you imagine if like Velma was like the remake of Scooby Doo was totally made like that? Or was in the perspective of some chauvinistic sexist male where like Fred was the main character, the stud and the star of the show? People would get so pissed about that crap, but then they try to do a woke modern remake of it where the female is the star for a change and everyone still hates it. And the only reason people hated Velma, and I'll be honest, is because you feel like you're being preached at. I don't sit here and dictate what I see on YouTube as facts. I'm like, I see what's going on in our society. I'm like, well, here's my perspective on it. You can take it as fact or you can leave it. That's your choice. You can sit here and call me a fucking retard. I don't care anymore.
I don't want people to think I'm too normal, right? And
fuck that shit. Then that's the problem with it. That creates like a circle of hypocrisy within itself. You don't want people to think you're too normal. So what is the definition of normal? Because you got some people who are like, they have to lie about being trans to get accepted into college because they feel like it gets them more exception points. Fuck that. Fucking Candace Owens coming off as a little transphobic, but I didn't say that.
they're just trying to find something that makes them not white.
Some may turn their nose up at this.
Like, not white. Yeah. This is exactly how everyone else has had to feel for the last several years. And now white people get a small taste of it and people are like shocked. Mostly whites who are like, God damn, this actually kind of sucks. It's like, okay, now that white people have had a small taste of what they've received, they'll never fully understand what it's like to be oppressed the way blacks, minorities, women, and the LGBTQ have been oppressed. They'll never understand that oppression in today's society.
Some of what she expressed here is actually correct. In mid-2022, Ted Cruz even called out the...
So even in mid-2022, which was what? Last year? Year before? Who knows? Ted Cruz is... Ted Cruz! Ted Cruz! You know the reference I just made.
State Department for discriminating against people with disabilities and straight white men in their hiring practices.
The email says that hiring practices have developed
what
inside the State Department so that, and I'll quote, that certain candidates could not be hired because they have a disability.
Well, let's be realistic. I'm not trying to be a dick. You should not discriminate against somebody for their disability when it comes to hiring them if they're qualified for it. Like, it's one thing if I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, if your disability is like severe ADHD and you have a hard time focusing, if someone says, well, we're not going to hire you because of that, that's pretty easy to like manage. You get the right medication or find their stimulant that just keeps them zoned, fine. But like, and I want to choose my words very carefully. Now, hear me out. If you're as blind as Cool Taste and they say, well, we're not going to fucking hire you because you can't see, you're a liability risk, that's unfortunately different. Now, if Cool Taste could find a job where he could make money and it would not have anything to do with his being blind kind of thing, he would excel greatly, so don't get it twisted. So, like, if they're going to discriminate against you, as you'd put it, because it's like, well, you have a fucking epileptic seizure every 4 minutes. The simplest flash of light could trigger one, And that is the unfortunate reality for a lot of disability, or should I say, handy-capable individuals. where it's like your disability is so severe you cannot work. And it sucks because a lot of these people want to be perceived as normal. So, what is normal? That you have a job and you work. And yeah, there were some people who abuse it and use it as an excuse. And there were just a lot of people like myself. I've tried to maintain a fucking job here in town, and I can't. Not because of my disability, but because my trolls are fucking miserable, obsessed, cock-sucking, asshole, loser fucks. Like, oh, Cobra, in my defense, I should have been more smart about the whole Wendy's thing and been like, it's the internet. Don't talk about where you work. But I didn't think back in the day that that would happen. And when it did, I was just like, okay, so I gave Wendy's 4 loyal years of my service, working my ass off. I'm like, whatever, it's cool. I spent a whole goddamn year being unemployed. I got a job dishwashing. And when the trolls got me fired from my second job due to like gang stalking and harassment, I said, fuck this shit. I don't gotta fucking get my trolls fired from their jobs to get inside their heads. I'm already in their pathetic, obsessed lives. They can't stop talking about me. It's just quite sad. And because of that, I do what I do now on YouTube, where I sell the t-shirts, the tactical soap, the wands, the very generous occasional donation from my fans.
They are white men. They are straight white men.
But like refusing to hire somebody because you're a straight white man, I mean, yeah, that kind of seems like some bullshit. Like, has the political power from the other side gotten so strong that it's like, now you have to hate people like me, otherwise you're a bigot.
They are not of the quote right religion. All of these are verbatim.
Oh, so now we're gonna drag religion into it, so it's not enough. Oh God, so like, what's next? Are we gonna go back to like the Salem witch trials because you're not a Christian, so now you have to be like gay, trans, not white, and pretty much a Christian before they're like, okay, and Cobra, calm down. That was a little too far because in the Christian community, a lot of them do not accept being gay or trans. So how does that work? Oh, believe me, Casper Wyoming's a very conservative town, and your views are so old-fashioned. But don't let that affect your opinion of everyone here in town,
Quotes from the email of a senior State Department official.
In response to the defense of straight white men, the arguments are often the same. Some people believe that the criticism of straight white men is justified because they have historically held a disproportionate amount of power and privilege.
Oh, God. What the fuck is that? Ah. Some people have argued, as Sidney Watson put it, that because straight white cisgendered men who are heterosexual and biologically the sex they identify as, because y'all have had all the privilege, that now you deserve all the crap that you're getting in today's society. Again, that is some revenge, hatred type shit. And the thing I would ask both white, straight white, cisgendered people and everyone else is to like literally put yourself in each other's shoes for 1 second and hear the argument that I'm preaching, because I know this is a long ass video and you're like, oh, fucking Cobra with this shit. How would it feel to white people if blacks had oppressed them for all these years? And how would it feel to black people if you had no control over that oppression and you didn't ask for the privilege? And there's an argument for you, YouTube. Not trying to offend anyone. No, just ruffling some peacock raven feathers to get your fucking thoughts going. Yeah, you know, Cobra's kind of an asshole, but he tells it like it is. How did a fucking 20-minute video turn into a 2-hour video response? Because there's so many rabbit holes and thoughts and, like, you know. I need a fucking cigarette. I chugged that champagne not as quickly as I normally would, but I'm cutting back on my drinking and trying to preserve it, of course. We got one delicious stick of this Buffalo Bob's jerky. This is beef and buffalo, chipotle, and garlic flavor. We've been trying them on stream. We're going to save this towards the end of the stream, of course. I don't have any alcohol, but I want to go smoke a cigarette and then make me some goddamn Kratom. Oh, Cobra. We're at 13 minutes and 7 seconds into the video. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we got about 7 more minutes here. Let's try to wrap this up. It's late. And I don't want to be like super loud and making videos, you know. If we can make videos past 10 o'clock, it's not going to be like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be like shouting or doing vocal covers or being like, it's my life, it's now or never. But I ain't gonna live forever. And because my Cobra is orange, I want to name him Garfield after the cat. Why not? I don't care. That's his name. Like, oh God, don't start naming your pets. That's how they become attached. Crikey, we got ourselves an orange monocled cobra, otherwise known as a Cheetos monocled cobra. They're a docile species if you're good with snakes, but don't bloody well crawl. Oh, fucking hell! Easy there. Oh, he's a grumpy little bastard, isn't he? There you go, mate. Calm down. Who's a pretty little? Oh, fucking hell! Okay, yeah, don't strike his chin or scratch. Did you say strike? It fucking talks. Goddamn right, I talk. You're just ripping off Rusty the puppet. Screw you. Yeah. Garfield the Cobra. I hate Mondays. What do you hate more, Mondays or mongooses? Both. Okay. Yeah, he's a little grumpy bastard. Yeah, okay, well, watch it, watch it. Hey, you. He's not having it. He's not bloody well having it. Oh, he's cranky, YouTube. He smells me white privilege and he's pissed about it. So of course I want to pick him up and fuck with him to show you how dangerous he is. And oh, he's trying to get away. He's trying to fucking get away. He's supposed to be left alone. He's like, I'm sick of your white privilege. Just leave me alone. And it's like, how do you think I fucking feel? I'm one of the cool white dudes, and I get crap because of the racist, sexist, white assholes who ruin it for my people. Just like, the cunts and the raging gangbangers and the fucking faggots that ruin it for everyone else. And you know what the difference is? The difference is between a gay person and a faggot is gay people respect boundaries. Once they find out that you're straight, they fuck off and they're like, well, I'm sorry to, But a faggot and a dyke don't care. They'll hit on you regardless. And that's the kind of, it's just like when you got the racist white assholes. It's the truth. When you got fucking crackers who ruin it for white people, it doesn't mean all white people are crackers. It's just, and I hate using language like that because I got so many people that watch my videos that are LGBTQ. And I don't want them to think, oh my God, Josh, what the hell? And it's like, dude, I'm on your side, but you can't let the assholes ruin it for your movement, dude. Like, nobody likes getting told no. If a fucking straight white cisgendered male acted like that at a bar when they got told no, well, you can't handle a strong man. What are you, a white phobe? Oh my God, you're racist because I'm white. You won't date me because I'm white. You're racist. You can't handle a strong man. You'd never hear it, YouTube. I need to choke down a cigarette real quick. Garfield, the monocled orange cobra. I need you to watch the stream. He's pretty docile around me because he knows I'm good with animals and I love snakes. And he talks too, you see that shit. Told the trolls to kiss my Asperger's. Oh, now we ripped that in the air. Fucking definitely want to go outside now. Don't want to spark up a lighter near that. Okay, just kidding. Still going. Beautiful. I'm gonna take a piss. One of my fans sent me this Kratom, which is for 21 and up. This is a fan who's a fan of my videos. They have their own Kratom company, so they're not a sponsor, but I'm gonna plug them because they're a fan of my videos. So check out this awesome company for all your Kratom needs. It's pretty straightforward, YouTube. My fan sent me some G Fuel, and the G Fuel comes with like those little scoopers. So I saved one of those scoopers for my Kratom. It's just like a tea, basically. A big old scoop of it. Oh, hold up. I'm gonna scoop it. That was like half a scoop. Do a full scoop. A little bit more in there. That should be enough. This company ships worldwide, so check them out. I want to add some hot water to it, and then I'll activate the Kratom. And we stir it around. Grab a spoon or a fork. Like your protein mix, shakes, whatever. Stir it around. Bitch about segregation and fight it by creating micro-segregation.
Out as a trans woman, I presented to the world as a white, cis, hetero male. While I experienced a lot of privilege, I want to tell you that it wasn't always easy. For example, you have to learn to develop really good balance because it's easy to get tripped up when you're walking across the backs of everyone else.
Oh my fucking god. That statement was so fucking cringe.
Also, I struggle to understand how doors work because they always seemed open for me no matter where I went. And
What kind of bullshit is that? Considering I hold the door for people in general. I don't know your personal life. It's just the polite thing to do.
plus, it can be very drying on your skin when you're constantly having the wind blowing at your back. I get
Oh my fucking god. This idea that white people have always had it privileged. I know it's hard to believe. Let me just sip my Kratom tea real quick.
I'm trying to say is before you judge white cis hetero males, walk a mile in their shoes. They're sweet, comfy, cushy shoes.
Okay, you know what? You were kind of right in that. Before you judge anybody except sickos, walk a mile in their shoes. This idea that you're white, so automatically you're white, your wife and your life and everything is just going to be perfect. That is simply not the case. I'm white. I've been bullied my entire life because I'm considered different. Oh, but I can't make the argument that I've made just now because I'm a heterosexual, cisgendered, straight white male. So it's all about my privilege. So I can't talk about the assholes who bully me on YouTube, or all the assholes who have bullied me growing up, or all the assholes who picked favorites over me as a person because I just wasn't cool enough or disabled enough or whatever, or retarded enough or whatever, you know how that goes.
Nah, my friend, I'm gonna.
Sydney Watson said it best, just meh, flim flam.
Stop you there. Don't do it, Sydney. You are appropriating an entire sex of women, of females.
Okay, let me stop you right there. It's not sex, it's gender. Okay, because when I think of sex, I think of fornicating. When I think of gender, I think of man, woman, trans, hermaphrodite. Those are genders. We got to stop confusing sex with gender. From a woman's perspective, who was born female, we've been down this rabbit hole before. Women have had to face oppression from men for centuries. And when they finally get a little bit of equality, after fighting years, marching in Women's Liberation March, the women's movement, women's liberation of the 1960s, etc., the very same men that they bitch about turn themselves into females, and if you don't respect it, you're transphobic. So for a lot of women, it's like they're being told by a systematically oppressing society that men are bad, especially if they're white and straight and cisgendered. And then you see trans women who ironically were started off as a white cisgendered straight male, but then they started identifying as something else. And now everyone's just supposed to bend over and kiss their Cinderella slippers, otherwise it's like, you're a bigot. Like if you put on blackface and try to act like a black person, it's seen as cultural appropriation and blackface. But if you transition your sex into the opposite sex, it's not seen as gender appropriation. It's seen as they're trans. Accept it and deal with it. And there are plenty of trans people who dislike cis people just because they're straight and binary and heterosexual and cisgendered, but if they bully you for your beliefs, they're the ones with the problem. And Joe Rogan said it, we just got to be nicer to each other. J.K. Rowling said it. I support trans people, but that doesn't mean you get to have more rights than I do just because you identify as trans.
I don't know what's more privileged than that. There is also the belief that straight white men are one of the most prominent groups in Western countries, and as such, cannot be the subjects of discrimination because they control everything, I think.
Okay, I'm a straight white cisgendered male. I don't control everything. All I can do is control how I act and react in society and to society's bullshit. I'm not in control of everything because if I was in control of everything, I'd be like, as long as you're not a sicko, you get equality to everyone else. As long as you're not an inhuman, sexist, racist, fucking misogynistic, LGBTQ phobic piece of shit. As long as you're not a rapist, a sick fuck, an inhuman piece of shit, anything outside of that, you pretty much get equality. If I was in charge, I'd be like, power to the people, man. We can learn to live as a systematically unified human race, but instead we're all segregated by so many things. You know, your life gets oppressed in some way so that when you have a cell phone that's better than someone else's, a part of you feels spoiled in a sense, where it's like, oh, hey, look at that, I'm doing better than somebody. Instead of being like, okay, you know what, maybe I'm doing pretty good in the cell phone department, but like this person's struggling with something else that I've struggled with in the past, but now I'm doing good on. Instead of the human race relating to each other, it's, oh, I'm better than you and I want to be the chief. Too many people want to be the big dog, and yeah.
And if they are the subjects of any kind of negative bias, or if they appear to be, this is only because societal institutions, hiring processes, governments, and so on are making room for diversity by giving opportunities to women, LGBTQIA, people, non-whites, and anyone who has historically been held back by the aforementioned white men. The belief.
So I get what she's saying. First of all, there's nothing wrong, okay? If you're LGBTQIAA+, if you're a female, you're black, you're basically anything but a non-white. You know what I'm saying? You're basically anything. What I meant to say, blah, the Kratom's starting to kick in. I'm feeling good. But, like, if you're anything but a white, cisgendered, straight male, and you're given opportunities in society that several generations ago you never would have had, equality is a beautiful thing. However, it's being given to you by the same people that you bitch about. So you go off and minge and moan about how it's like all about equality and how you're sick and tired of oppression and how white people are bad. White people acknowledge it and like, hey, you know what? We're going to step down and let you take over the reins. You want what we have? Well, here you go. And that's not good enough for people. What's it going to take? Like Stewie Griffin going back in time and whipping slave masters in the back and being like, stop treating the Negroes like shit, you little asshole.
That being a straight white man is the most easy, and more importantly, the most privileged. One Salon article actually.
The idea that being a straight white man is so easy, and now that we face the most privilege in a society that is slowly trying to take away our privilege and have more privilege than us. You see where I'm going with this? I never asked for my fucking privilege. If straight white men were in control, I give everyone except pieces of shit privilege, and but I'm not in control of it. All I can do is go off on a little rant on YouTube and be like, Okay, so you see me slamming some jerky and drinking some peak champagne, hitting the kratom, and just being like, "Oh, by the way, you shouldn't mix kratom with alcohol. Bad idea." But I'm ballsy like that. We talked about how it's called microaggression because you need a microscope to see it. The oppression that white people are facing today are not as severe as the oppression everyone else has had to face.
Went as far as to say that to be white is to have access to unearned advantages in almost every arena of American society and throughout.
And that's what irritates me about being a white person is that you could be one of the nicest white guys on the planet. You support the right causes. You stand for the cause. You fight for LGBTQ as a straight person. You're an ally to feminism. And you can't do any of that without being told you're just virtue signaling. You're just trying to get laid. You're just white fragility. And if you work your ass off just like anyone else to get anywhere in life, it's because you earn that because of your white privilege, not because, okay. And that's just kind of like how society continues to segregate us, you know? If you have like a law firm that's applying for people to be hired for them, and then like you have a black person and a white person, you know, and both are equally as qualified for the job, and it's just up to whoever gets the job, basically. Instead of being like, well, I'll just find a different law firm, you have to make it about like microaggression or like white privilege or like systematic racism towards white people or just some dumb shit like that. It's instead of being like, you know what, I will find a different law firm. I'm tired of society making it about my race and my gender. But yeah, what do I know? And there were some situations where everyone else will get fired before, or excuse me, fired because they mislabel your pronouns. And there were some situations where a person will get hired simply because they were a non white, straight, cisgendered, heterosexual person, male, whatever. It really depends, you know. And when you're at a job, it's not your job to educate your coworkers on wokeism and like your fucking pronouns. You're there to do a job and make money. You know, if you got some coworker, because that's the thing of it, there are women who have been sexually harassed in the workforce. Sure, they might choose to come to work in a low cut t shirt, but that doesn't justify your sexual comments towards her. At the same time, if there's a company policy that says you're not supposed to dress a certain way, it's not your job as a female to be like, well, it's my body and my rights. And I'm like, okay, honey, that's just fine. But when you're in a professional work environment, you know, nobody wants to see you dressed like that. I'm sure a lot of the guys do if you got it going on, because women are just like men when it comes to that department. If you're ugly as shit in their eyes, they don't want to see it. And it's only called shallow when men do it. Oh, we. Just like it's only called racist and transphobic and sexist and whatever else when straight, white, cisgendered men do it.
The world. Something I personally find so sad about all of this is that it dismisses the experience of an entire group of people, all of whom are individuals with very different life experiences.
The argument is so true for everyone else outside of sickos and shit. The biggest arguments that blacks have made for civil rights is that what Sidney Watson just got done saying. that you're going to dismiss the life experiences of someone else because a couple of people of color decide to be assholes about it. People are jerks to each other. You can't let the assholes ruin it.
It's just awful to be socialized from any age to believe that traits over which you have absolutely no control mean that you're inherently bad or negative or toxic and so on. I've always
Exactly my point. And that's true for both sides of the sword. It's a double-edged sword. To be taught in society that systematically you have more privilege just because you're white or because you're black, or to be seen as you're the problem because you're white or black or whatever. That's what she said, and so on.
said, and I continue to maintain, it's not right to do this to anyone. No,
To anyone except sickos.
you should be made to feel lesser for their immutable characteristics. Unless, of course, you're one of those people who argues that asexual attraction to children is an immutable characteristic, in which case, get in the sea.
Yeah, exactly, Sydney. She said it.
All of this said, in researching this topic, I did come across an article, written funnily enough by a Democratic immigrant woman, who expressed something I think is worth repeating. One can have historical and contemporary awareness for inequities and injustices without having hateful feelings towards the ordinary white citizens around us. Today's Democratic Party is predicated on having and expressing open hostility towards white citizens. They are making the dangerous bet that most minorities and immigrants will jump on the white male bashing bandwagon. But it could backfire and turn off many voters. If you ask most minorities and immigrants, they'll probably tell you they just want a fair, equal shot at the American dream, and that they're not angling for racial payback or Civil War Take Two. I think in many ways, her assessment is more than likely correct. The reality is that so much of modern politics is fractured around sex and race. And in fact, some would argue that race relations have never been worse, and
That's the truth, Sydney. That's the truth. It's not about simping for the lovely Sydney Watson. It's just about sharing ideas and concepts and speaking your mind. And so much of today's politics is just that. It's centered around your gender and yeah.
direct product of the media we consume. If you go online, watch TV, a movie, listen to politicians, even pundits, you're bombarded with messaging about white supremacy, that straight white men and white people generally are.
Look, no one's going to argue white supremacy is bullshit and racial supremacy is stupid. I don't care. If you think you're better than everyone else because you're a certain race, then you're a racist. That's kind of the one thing that's the bitch about racism, is that it does not exclude, or at least in the sense racism can happen to every race. That's the only time you're going to see racism ironically unites all races. But outside of that, and that's a stretch, but mind you,
ground zero for inequality, for racism, for societal problems.
the idea that, okay, well, the Little Mermaid's black, so now everyone's going to throw a fit about it because it's race swapping. And I'm like, who cares? Yeah, the argument is, well, they're just doing it to fit the woke narrative and appeal to people, and all they want your money. And yeah, that's bullshit. But outside of that, it's like, who cares? If they readapt a character to be a different race, it's called including the other side. And when you bitch about it on social media because you feel like it's race swapping or whatever, you're just giving the other side the fuel they need for their car. Their I hate all white people engine in their car. They pump the gas on that son of a bitch. It's like, well, look at them bitch about race swapping. This is why all white people are racist. And it's like, there were some black people who feel like it's being forced too, but they have the loudest voice on the situation more than a white person does. Because if a black person says, hey, The Little Mermaid, the new remake feels forced, I don't agree with the gender or like the race swapping or whatever, nobody's going to argue with them and be like, oh, wow, okay, self-racism much? Like black people saying the N-word to each other? No one's going to say that. They're going to be like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Oh my God, so progressive and so woke. Oh my God. Okay, we gotta snap our fingers because clapping might offend people who are sensitive to noise. Because it's just cool to have, yeah. I need to refill my my tea with another cup of hot water.
Worldview, this philosophy has made its way into the education system, into teaching. It's made its way into the corporate world, into government, into so many of our societal institutions, including the media. And
it pains me to say this, but it's the truth. Growing up in school, I got bullied. I did. But also when I grew up in school, LGBTQ thing wasn't even heard of in my generation because gays were also getting bullied, and that's messed up. So I'm glad that in today's society that everyone else outside of straight white cisgendered male has more acceptance to a point. But at the same time, that doesn't mean we gotta force this radical left-wing agenda down everyone's throats. You can teach people to be tolerant of LGBTQIAA+ without shoving it down their throats. Because when people feel like they're being forced to do something, it makes them less likely to comply with it, which in the long run just hurts LGBTQ+. Or you look at guns, for example. If people are being forced to tolerate guns, even though there's been a couple of assholes who have guns who've done some fucked up shit, you'd be less likely to tolerate it. If someone tried arguing stats with you on why guns are bad, and you call them a gun phobe, and that just triggered them in all sense of the words. And then it became this huge political issue about what the fuck, you support guns, well, you don't. And that doesn't solve the issue. It's like, okay, so my point being is that, arguing over who supports guns or doesn't support them isn't going to end mass shootings. And fighting over gay rights versus straight rights isn't going to end the segregation. And the problem with this is you cannot make everyone happy. You try and you end up pissing off somebody.
Is as divisive as it gets. Demonizing straight white men forces us into a culture of division and polarization. It beats men down and makes discrimination
Yeah, because like us men need to be beat down anymore, in our society where men are being told the same thing as women, that you have to be tougher than the opposite sex, otherwise you're not manly or feminine enough. Well, how like men are not cared for in society the same way women are. That's not being sexist. That's just a fact. In like a life or death situation, the boat's going down. Who do you think is going to be on the rescue raft first? Women, elderly, and children, of course. They don't give a shit about men. So us men got to stick up for each other, you know? And whenever we do, we get called a sexist who hates women. And it's like the fucking tits on these broads, dude. Okay? It's just like, man, if this were reversed, oh, wait. You know exactly how that feels. Women, you try to stick up for men and you get told you're not feminine enough. So then you're like, screw men, and then you just stick up for your own gender. And then they call you a man-hating cunt, you know, and it's like, okay, how are we supposed to win here? Because men are being told to be jerks to women, and then women are telling men they want assholes at the same time they don't, and then society's telling women that all you want is assholes and all men want is sex. And it creates a very toxic environment for like the dating scene in general. This idea that all women want is assholes and all men want is sex. Gender-based stereotypes are a bitch and they ruin it for people.
Justifiable and makes us wary of one another. Not only that, but when we divide people.
Well, can you imagine being wary? I mean, like when like the simplest of speech will offend somebody. You're not trying to be offensive. You're not trying to be inclusive. You're just being as I'm a pothead and you know, a goth hippie stoner type. I'll say things like, "Hey, dude, what's up? Hey, guys, how's it going?" I don't mean it to be gender inclusive, but there are some people who get so offended by that. They take it as a personal attack. There were some women who get offended if you hold the door for them, and it's just like, I try to hold the door for as many people as I can, but at the same time, I don't want to be the doorman. You know, like, oh, hey, you know. And you don't have to do it all the time, but every once in a while, just a little bit of kindness goes a long way, YouTube.
To groups and endlessly assign blame to one of those groups for no observable logical reason, we destroy any opportunity we have of banding together to address actual serious societal issues. There is one last thing.
It's only popular, Sydney, because, well, you look at the 1950s when it became socially acceptable to be sexist towards women and towards blacks and just mean towards people that were pretty much not straight, white, cisgendered, and male. And their solution to end segregation is to micro-segregate the ancestors of the people who caused it. It doesn't really erase your history. It just makes you feel some sort of civil justice. But how is it justice when we're all fighting with each other, slaves to our goddamn cell phones? Oh, look, Cheryl just posted a picture of the dinner she's having with her family tonight. Oh, hashtag dinner. That looks so amazing. Oh, she made it herself. That must have taken forever. Bob just posted a picture of his new fishing boat. Well, Bob looks like he's going to enjoy that, I tell ya. Oh, look at that. Stacy got married for the third time. Yeah, we'll see how long this lasts. Followed by some bullshit news article that someone else has to post on their Facebook page, like, it's either white people are bad or like trans people are bad, and I'm so sick of hearing it. You get these fucking radical Republicans who hate on you because you're trans or LGBTQ or a woman or whatever. Then you get the radical left who just fucking hates you because you're a straight white cisgendered male, and I'm over here like, we're gonna pick Garfield. It's gonna be okay, YouTube. And what's Garfield's favorite food right here? He likes mongoose lasagna mixed with the blood of the trolls.
That I would like to note here. And I'm going to need you all to cast your minds back to the beginning of this video with the clips that we were watching of the white people hating on other white people.
Like, that doesn't happen, because it totally does. White people hating on other white people is no different than blacks hating on their fellow blacks. I mean, you look at Kanye West, this motherfucker literally said that slavery doesn't exist. And I'm like, oh my God, could you imagine if Eminem was saying the crap that Kanye West was saying? The dude would be hailed as a white supremacist piece of shit, and Eminem would be canceled so fucking quickly, dude. The fuck out of here. My white ass were to start talking like that, and I'd be canceled. When Kanye West wore the White Lives Matter t-shirt, it was a cringe way of him showing he supports white people, you know, a little culturally insensitive, but cringe. If he would have stopped there, dude, no, but then he had to go on and like threaten the Jews and all this other shit, and I'm like,
I know it's trendy to express these ideas, and I also know that.
But just because it's trendy to express these ideas, learn to think for yourself. Learn to think like Cobra, you know? Long as you ain't a sick fuck, who gives a shit? If you judge anybody outside of what we've talked about in this video, then you're a part of the problem. You want to hate somebody because they have pronouns, it's because you're scared to be yourself and you don't understand how the pronouns thing works. Heck, YouTube, I don't understand how pronouns work. I think you're adding unnecessary steps to the situation. You're making it more complicated than it needs to be. Like, if you already identify as a fucking female and then you say you're also Z, Zer, you identify as Zer, which is Gen Z female, I guess. I don't fucking know. Like, you already have a word for it, so why you gotta make up more words to mean the same thing? It just overcomplicates the human language. But at the same time, outside of that, it doesn't really affect me. So, like, if I have friends and family who have pronouns, or close relatives, or idols, or that kind of thing, like if Danny Filth came out as a they, them, and identified as non-binary, I'd still support Danny Filth, you know. I'm not that big of a bigot, to be honest. But at the same time, I'm not going to go out of my fucking bloody way to be like, excuse me, what are your pronouns? So I don't accidentally offend you. There are people who try as hard as they can to piss you off, and then there are people out there who don't even try and they still piss people off. I'm somewhere in between those two, I guess. I don't intentionally try to piss people off, but when you get these ignorant fucking assholes, they're just so fucking clueless to how shit works. It's mentally exhausting, and pissing off the people that just don't get it. It's kind of fun, you know?
A lot of white individuals don't actually view themselves through a racial lens. But when they express these kinds of ideas, there's no pushback, there's no response, there's no negative societal implication from
because of the way whites have treated everyone else.
What they said. But these people, in their criticisms of straight white men, are inadvertently, actually it's not even inadvertent, it's very obvious. They are very obviously attacking their fathers, their brothers, their uncles, their husbands, their boyfriends, any man in their life who happens to be straight and white and male, which is self-evident when I say any man in their life. You understood that. And in my opinion, in addition to just being embarrassing, I don't understand the self-flagellation thing. It's very odd. It's also just really weird to consider. You know, I spent some time reading through the comments on videos responding to that video, and a majority of people actually writing comments seem to be not white. And a lot of them said that you would just never find this sort of thing happening in other ethnic groups. So I don't know.
I call bullshit, Terrence Pop, bullshit. You cannot tell me that there ain't self-hate in every group. Then what the fuck are women when they're being catty towards each other? Oh my God. So Cheryl thinks she's all that because she got her hair done. She looks like a total slut. Okay. Like, fuck her and her stupid tacky purse. But then when Cheryl's hanging out with her best frenemy face to face, what does she say? Oh my God, Cheryl, I love your handbag. And who did your hair? I simply must know.
And think of that. In the end, demonizing straight white men, as we so often see all the time, is ironically against the very value system that progressives like to tell you about all the time. But let's be real, it isn't actually an answer to historical inequalities. It isn't even an answer to current social problems.
Yeah, using revenge racism to erase historical inequalities just creates more segregation and micro hypocrisy / microaggression. Like if I would have been on the bus with Rosa Parks, I would have been like, ma'am, you can have my front seats. If anybody would have looked at me funny, like, oh, what do you think you're doing? I'm like, I'm giving a woman who's been busting her ass my seats. What the fuck are you doing? Who the fuck are you to judge?
It's divisive, it's gross, and it's unhelpful.
Yes, exactly, Sydney. Using this kind of revenge, hypocrisy / racism and what have you, it's gross, it's unhelpful, it doesn't do anything but continue to divide us further as a human race. Oh, but you can't say human race because it now makes you a speciesist. What if some people identify as non-binary aliens? Living creatures. Can we say that? What if they don't identify as a creature?
I do have more to say about this topic in more detail, but I would like to cover the rest of that in another video at a later date. Now, before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out Extra using the link in the description. When you do and you use my code, you get 25% off.
So you heard that right here, folks. You go to extra.com. Want to get you a wallet that's futuristic and modern and fancy. You use code Sydney, all capitals SYDNEY. You will get 25% off your freaking purchases, man. Yeah.
Check out. Now open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? Is the demonization of straight white men actually happening? Do you?
It is, but it's not as bad as people are making it out to be compared to how it could have been like back in the day. The kind of persecution that gays and blacks and LGBTQ minorities and women have had to face these last couple of years is seriously disgusting. Like, women have been slut shamed for centuries, and now when you call a man a simp for trying to be nice to her, not because he wants to get laid, but because he wants to show that he's a decent guy and that we're all just doing our thing, he's immediately demasculated. But then as soon as he treats her like shit because he doesn't want to get simp shamed, now the woman's pissed at him, and now it's all men are the same, and it becomes a how the fuck am I supposed to win in this situation kind of thing. Y'all driving me fucking mad.
That I am a crazy Looney Tune person who is just misreading all of this? Do you think it is?
I mean, it can be difficult to read the situation. It's very common to misread and assume the worst before it happens. But yeah.
Going on, and it's a bad thing, and it's a negative thing for society.
I think it's a negative thing for society because if we're going to end segregation and unify ourselves, then we need to be able to recognize that as long as you're not a sicko or an inhuman, sexist, racist, abusive piece of shit, because this is a two-way street, folks. You can't sit there and demand everyone stop bullying you and demand equality because you're gay and trans. But then you go out of your way to bully someone else because they're straight and cisgender. That's not how it works.
I think that this is very divisive, that it's actually
It's extremely, blah, I almost said excretionally, blah. Extremely divisive, yes.
us up further into groups that we don't need to be broken up into.
I actually agree with it. It does divide us as people instead of uniting ourselves as people, especially if you live in the United States of America. It's we the people. This isn't the divided states of America, it's the United States.
That the media and the governments and politicians and so on are complicit in this. And
I think the media and the government, all that's only complicit with it because of these cancel culture woke assholes. If one person minges on about how offended they are about anything anymore, when everyone's offended by something, generally speaking, as long as it's not a super serious issue, outside of that, they're going to basically tell you to shove it. That's life. Get used to it. But when you're protecting your image and when it sells to the Gen Z woke assholes how progressive you are, that's why the media and the government is because they're being controlled by a lot of different people.
generally make of this issue overall.
Oh, you heard what I made of it. Fucking 3-hour video.
Otherwise, if you like the video, hit subscribe and the thumbs up button. If you want to leave a comment, feel free to do so. Just be respectful about it. And I will see you guys next time.
There it is. Now, I do have one more thing to do before I end the video, and that is to try this beef buffalo. This is a Chipotle and garlic flavor. I'm all sitting there like snacking through these jerky sticks like it's no one's business because they're that good. And yeah, I said to my YouTube fam, I says, I'll save this for the end of the video. And it is the end of the video. I have nothing to be jealous of. I'm just sitting here being like, well, this is my opinion and we can do better as people. Between the alcohol and the kratom, I'm feeling, yeah. I'm gonna sleep like the dead tonight and wake up so refreshed. Like, that's good. Kratom. The Kratom is like an opioid, basically. So I do appreciate y'all donating your time and watching the video. If you donated any money, I'll give you a shout out in the next video. I do gotta wrap this video up because it's almost midnight on a oh no, it's Tuesday. Never mind. I'm reading the clock right now, so it's past midnight. Ooh. But Buffalo Bob's makes really good jerky. Let's get that last flavor going, YouTube. This is the, like I said, Chipotle and garlic flavor. Now, I'm not trying to piss nobody off with this rant, although a lot of people are going to get triggered. You know, it's like this. I love being me. It pisses off all the right people. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, there's a little bit of heat to it with the Chipotle. YouTube, that is such good jerky. Well, I'm going to end the video. I'm going to finish this here slice of jerky. And speaking of jerky, man, don't let the jerks ruin it for you. I'll catch you later.